Welcome back to the next part in our series, introducing you to the Ohio Mock Trial Program. My name is Ryan Susky. I'm Director of Programs at the Ohio Center for Law-Related Education, the group that runs mock trial in the Buckeye State. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how you get started in the program, organizing a team, and having your first couple of practices. One of the hardest parts of getting started in the Ohio mock trial process is, well, getting started. How do you go from getting your case file and watching these introductory videos to actually recruiting students and holding your first practice? In this video, we're going to go over the process of organizing a team and a couple of helpful hints that will assist you in holding those first couple of practices. It's important to know at the outset how teams are put together. As we've said throughout these videos, there are a couple of small differences between the high school and the middle school programs, and one of those differences is the way that students compose a team. A high school team must have at least 5 students and a maximum of 11 students. Middle school teams must have at least 6 students and can have a maximum of 12. When you look at the available roles that each team has, you'll understand that with 5 students on a high school team, every student is going to have at least 2 jobs to fill on the team. If you have 11 students, every student is going to have 1 role with at least 1 student as a backup. On the high school side, you're going to need to have 2 plaintiff or prosecution attorneys, A and B, 2 plaintiff or prosecution witnesses, witness 1 and witness 2, and a bailiff who has a short script to read at the beginning and end of a trial, but otherwise assists in keeping time during the trial segments. On the defense side, it's very similar. You'll need to have a defense attorney A and a defense attorney B, 2 defense witnesses, and a timekeeper. Middle school is very, very similar with one small difference. On the middle school side, you're going to call 3 witnesses on each side of the case, bringing the total number of witnesses called to 6. On the high school side, the case file, of course, contains 6 witnesses, but teams get to choose which of the 6 witnesses they're going to call. As a general principle, teams will only ever play one side of the case at a time. There are a couple of rare instances where a high school team might be asked to play both sides of the case in different trials against different opponents, but we won't get into that here. To understand the rules about that, look at the Ohio Mock Trial case file in the rules section under doubling. The following are some helpful tips about how to start out in the program with your early practices. But of course, this is just advice and not rules. Feel free to go with whatever system works best for you and your students. Early on, we recommend having whole team practices without assigning roles to your students. This is really important because every student, regardless of what role they're going to play, needs to understand the case in its entirety. They can't see how their portion of the trial fits into the larger picture unless they know the larger picture. You should observe students and have the whole group practice specific skills that are going to help in any role, no matter where they go on the team. These can include public speaking drills, right? Things like pronunciation, diction, having them read pre-written speeches, etc. Extemporaneous speaking drills, where, for example, they practice speaking off the cuff, preparing to present to the court without time to actually script out their responses in advance. Reading analysis practice, where the students actually break down the different documents in the case. Logic games, where you get to practice the skills of making sense out of some difficult to put together pieces. And of course, case mapping, where you'll actually break down all of the different pieces of evidence and argument that the case is composed of. We strongly recommend holding tryouts before assigning the different roles on a team. Students are going to come to their first practice knowing that they want to be an attorney or they really want to play a witness. But ultimately, the strongest teams are designed in a way that each student is put in a role that best exemplifies their strengths. In that same aspect, it's important to remember that every role, even alternates, timekeepers, and bailiffs, play a part in the preparation and presentation of the case. Although a student may end up holding a stopwatch on the day of the trial, they should feel like they were an integral part of preparing, giving advice to their teammates, critiquing performances, and ultimately helping the team to craft arguments that best present their side of the case. To that end, it's really helpful to scrimmage early, even in very small pieces, and doing so would give all students a chance to not only participate in that process, try their hand at doing a cross-examination, but also giving critique and feedback to their colleagues. By doing this, you cultivate a culture of continuous improvement, where students understand and expect that every time they present, they're going to get some constructive feedback that they can continue to improve upon. When all students feel like they're invested in this process and that they're able to give their teammates observations and feedback of what they saw during their performance, every student is going to feel like the team is growing together and trying to get better as a whole. That's all for this segment. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like or subscribe and check out our YouTube channel for additional tutorials. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.